Hey guys, Northwest Wilson here. Today we are going to do some wood retrieval, firewood retrieval that I'll be splitting up on site at the house where the trees have been fallen. But I wanted to make this video for people that are looking at getting into firewood, or people that heat with wood during the winter and look for free firewood. As I mentioned in my other video, I've never paid for any firewood that I burn. I've always been able to, living in the Pacific Northwest, I've always been able to find people that are falling trees, or there's been good opportunities for free wood on Craigslist or even OfferUp. So I've never really had to buy any firewood or rounds, just really no rounds I've ever had to purchase. Look guys, I burn wood to save money, and if I'm paying for wood, to me it almost defeats the purpose, because cordwood up here is getting expensive. I've noticed over the last year or so, wood prices are going up as everything else is. So if you're having to pay for your wood, I mean, if you're getting a smoking good deal on corded split wood, that's one thing. If you don't want to make the investment in the splitter or any of the other processing equipment, that's a good route. But for me, I have always split my own wood. I've always collected my own rounds and never paid for any of it. So I want to give you guys some pointers about what to look for when going out on Craigslist ads or looking at Craigslist ads for quote-unquote free wood. I think we've all seen the ones. If you're into firewood, you've seen the ones, oh, free firewood, and it shows basically a pile of branches, a big nasty pile of branches that you have to cut up and deal with, and then you get out on site and you realize you got two fences to go through, a side yard, oh, and then there's the pile of wood clear down at the bottom of a hill, and it's on you to get it up and either split down there and packed up, or get the rounds up the hill into your truck or trailer. That's a lot of work. You can easily spend hours and hours and hours just retrieving the wood. You're not even talking about actually having the wood in your trailer or getting it stacked at your house. That is just the time it takes on site to retrieve it. I don't have time for that, guys. The wood that I look for is easy access. I like street side wood that's literally piled up. Guys, I largely don't buck rounds on site. The stuff I look for is stuff that has been left by a tree company. Most of them will buck them into 16-inch rounds and let people come pick them up, or the homeowner can sell them if they choose to do that. Some people do sell them. I don't know how much luck they have with that. I don't know how much money they're really getting out of rounds that you have to come to collect, but that's besides the point. You want to make this as easy as you can for yourself. And what I found is looking for keywords in the ad, like easy access, or street side, or can park right next to the wood pile. Those are all things that I look for in a Craigslist firewood score or OfferUp. And really the big thing for me is, and I'll ask them, if I message them back, if I see a bunch of rounds that are in a good location that's close to my house, I look for stuff that is within 10 miles away. If I have to drive 15, 20, 25 miles to get to a wood pile, I mean, unless it's like top-notch wood, I'm just not interested in it. I'd rather just focus on real close to my house. That way, if I need something, doesn't take all day to go back and get it. But I do like to split on site, and for any of you guys that have split firewood, it's not a clean process. You get a lot of what they call kindling, a lot of debris that when the wood breaks apart, either the bark falls off the log, or you get a lot of moss, or real tiny splinter pieces of wood that when you're processing a lot of wood, you end up getting quite a bit of material. And look, I don't want that at my house. It's stuff I got to clean up. It's things I have to deal with. And to make the process easier and quicker for me, for firewood processing, I really like to split on site. So and that only works if you've got a good splitter that you can split quickly. a lot of people have already had the tree company out there, and they've already heard the chainsaws and all the heavy equipment for, you know, a day or 3 days or however long it takes to get their stuff processed. There's trees down, so they're not too keen on letting some stranger come onto their property and split for 4 days. You know, I'm not going to do that to someone. I like to be in and out, so I'm not taking on huge wood piles either. You know, if someone's got 10 cords of firewood laying around, I'm not going to be able to split that in a day. 10 cords worth around, I'm just not going to be able to get to it. So I look for the stuff that's like, oh, there's 20 rounds, or, you know, 25 rounds, 30 rounds. I can bust that up in, you know, an hour and a half and then get it in and out of there. So a lot of the times I can pull my splitter behind my truck, and then I split the firewood right into the back of the truck. That's an ideal circumstance. You tow it in, you load up, and you tow it out. And a lot of people don't, you know, most of the time when they have tree companies there, they've already got a mess. They've already got, you know, twigs and branches and all kinds of debris laying around. So they're not going to be too picky if there's a few little pieces that are left over, although I do try and clean up as best I can before I leave. But pro tip, if you do want to go do firewood retrieval and you do have a good log splitter, see if you can split on site. You'd be surprised. A lot of people don't care. You know, if you're street side, if you're in a busy street and all these rounds are sitting there, it might not be the best idea to split on site. But if you can split on site, I do recommend it, because it does save a lot of work. You're not handling the wood all these times. When you're processing firewood, any of you guys that know, you really need to focus on handling the wood as little as you can. Every time you have to put your hands on a piece of wood, you know, all it does is create more work. You really need to focus on touching the wood as little as possible. So if you can streamline your operations, that's really the best way to go. So anyway, this house that we're going to is a friend of mine. He had some trees falling, I mentioned in a prior video, and he's got good access. It's not the absolute best access, but he is a friend, and you know, it's going to be pretty easy for me to get. He will let me split on site. So right now I'm dragging the splitter behind the truck. We're going to go split on site and process some firewood. I think he said he fell about 5 trees. They're not super big trees. So it should be a pretty quick process. Should get a decent amount of wood off of this. And like I said, he's a good friend of mine. So I'm happy to do this, and hey, I get firewood out of it too. So I'm not, this even if it was kind of a pain in the butt to split on this site or to just get the firewood, I would do it. He's a friend of mine. So I'm not looking at every little detail on this one, but we're gonna get some free firewood and get this stuff split up, and I'll show you guys kind of how it works when we get there. Stay tuned. Got a helper today. So this is the site. Splitter set up. I've got some rounds that I've moved from the pile, which is over here. Trees were cut on the back side of the fence, the inside of the fence. It's a pretty good wood pile. It's there's a couple pieces with a little bit of rot in them, but we can deal with that. The rest of this stuff is nice and solid, healthy, and it's in good sized pieces. You know, really close to that 16-inch length that I'm looking for when I'm doing firewood pickup. So, you know, I mentioned in a video, I like stuff to be within about 50 feet from where the splitting action is, and this is kind of what I'm talking about. This is pretty easy access. It's pretty flat. You just pick them up and head over there to the splitter. But one tool I want to show you guys is this thing called a pickaroon, and I have 2 of them, and these ones were made by Steel. And if you're going over rough terrain or any kind of obstacles with rounds, these things rounds are super heavy, and especially when they're wet, they can throw your back out in a hurry. So what I like to do is use this tool here, and you just stab it into the wood, pick it up, and then you actually just use the handle as your carrying arm. You just drag it on over. So if you have 2 of them, which I do, and obviously I can't use 2 with both hands and film at the same time, but you get the idea. whack right into there, and then you pick up your round. This round's a little soft on the inside, but you guys get the idea. These tools really make a big difference when you're doing a firewood job, as far as getting rounds from one spot of the site to another. You do not have to bend over. You absolutely do not have to bend over, which is really important when you're moving a lot of wood. So anyway, I'm gonna get these rounds moved over here, get a camera set up, and we'll be splitting. right, guys, we're back, and I want to bring you up to speed on where we finished that firewood job. We split, as you saw in the video, I split a full truckload of wood and called it a day. This was a job that was during the week. I was there on Thursday after work in splitting, and I filled up my truck, which is a solid half cord. As you know, a cord is 4x4x8 or 128 cubic feet, and the back of my truck is 8 feet long by 4 feet wide and 2 feet tall, and I do kind of mound it up a little bit. So we pulled off a half cord of wood Thursday, and then I left my camera there with my SD card full, and so went back Friday and split the rest of it. But it was more of the same, guys, just splitting, and this is kind of what I was left with here. So another half cord. So all in all, pulled off a full cord of wood off of the job. Overall, it was really good wood. Some stuff was a little shorter than I like. You know, you get some, you get some of this stuff here, which isn't ideal. I like to really see that, like that piece there. I really like to see that 16 inch stuff, but you also are getting this for free, so you got to always take the good with the bad. Don't turn down wood jobs because there may be, a half dozen pieces that are a little short, or you might see a couple pieces with some rot. It's not worth turning the job down. All that stuff burns, guys. It might not stack the best. What I like to do is I have a little side area in my wood shed that I throw all those little odds and ends. They work good in a campfire situation when you're burning wood around a fire pit. You just throw that stuff in and get rid of it. It does burn. So it's definitely not worth turning a whole job down just because you got some pieces that may not suit your liking. You just take it all, and that's part of the deal. But it all does burn, so keep that in mind. But the splitter did well. I had no issues with it at all. And I do think, as you guys saw in the video that I shot earlier about having some starting issues with the machine, once I ran the machine for a good half hour, 45 minutes, I went to restart it with the key, and it did start. So I do think it is the battery, actually. I think the battery is, honestly, I was thinking about it. I think this splitter's going on 3 years this fall that I've had it, and it is a flooded cell battery, and I do remember it was the cheapest one on the shelf, so I guess you get what you pay for. But anyway, the job went well. Picked up my tools. My 5-gallon diesel gas can is sitting under there, and yeah, so we pulled off a true cord of wood. And I think all in all, well, I'll tell you exactly how long I ran that splitter for. So that splitter ran for 1 hour. 1 hour. I started that job when I left here, and I had right at 30 hours, a little over 30 hours on it, 30 and some change. I've got 31.4. I don't know if you can see that, but 31.4. Right at an hour, maybe maybe 1.1, but that kind of gives you an idea of production. And if you notice, when I was splitting, I wasn't using the 4-way wedge a lot. Like I said, it works good on certain material, but it's not the best. I think there is some modification I can make to it to make it a little more efficient. But I mean, guys, you saw it. I mean, I spent an hour, basically an hour, splitting a cord of wood, and look how much time I spent stacking. So it's important to keep that in mind. Efficiency is really good at the machine level, but you also have to remember that's only one part of the equation. You still have to stack all this stuff, load it. I had a big split pile. One thing that and I want to say this before I forget: when you split on site, clean up after yourself. It's a great way to wear out your welcome if you go to a friend's house, or a friend of a friend or whatever. I don't know if you guys saw in the video, but when this leg swings down, I have a tarp that literally sits right here, and it runs way out there. Okay, so meaning this whole area, and it's like a probably a 5x10 tarp, okay, that I lay out in this whole area. That way when all the debris comes off of here and falls down, you get those little kindling pieces and the dirt and the bark and all that stuff. You'd be surprised how much of a pile this thing creates with just dirt and debris after splitting a cord of wood. And the thing you want to remember is when you're all done and you're trying to do a cleanup, you could spend an hour trying to clean up around this machine. And if they've got gravel there or whatever the case is, it's really hard to really clean up effectively and rake that through. Bring a tarp your area. It shows the homeowner or whoever you're working for that you actually care and that you plan on doing a good job, and you don't wear out your welcome, and you do get referrals from it. People go, oh, he came here, he split, he cleaned up, and he's gone. You know, it could lead to another job. It could lead to another splitting opportunity. One of their friends or co-workers or what have you says, hey, I'm falling some trees, would you like to come split? I heard you're in and out and you clean up quick. So I always put a tarp down there, even when I'm splitting at home, guys, because then you just fold the tarp up and then you just dump it into either the homeowner's, green bin recycling system, or in a worst case, you bring it home with you and just throw it in the burn pile that Lucy's up there hunting around. But anyway, that's a really good tip to be able to kind of quickly clean up and get out of there. I think I only spent 10 minutes cleaning up, and it looked just as clean as when I pulled in. But I wanted to show you guys, if you were doing this, obviously I was splitting this wood for myself, for my home heating use. So this wood is going to stay here, and this is where its final destination will be. But if you did want to go out and make a little bit of money on a Saturday, and you had a splitter similar to this or something close to that, and you have a pickup truck, preferably with an 8-foot bed, guys, this is the setup. You can drag this behind you, and then you can literally split into the truck, assuming that you can get your access is good, like we talked about. And within, I think, split, stacked, and loaded up, I think you could do this in a couple hours on your own. And if you have the people that want the wood, there's your delivery right there. I have literally done this before, where I have gone to a site, I have unhooked my splitter, I have split the wood, load it in the back of the truck, and then on my way home I have delivered it. And I have gotten as much as $200 for a load this size with this caliber of wood. So and that is not dry wood, that is wet wood. People will pay what you want them to pay. The more you undercut yourself, you're just taking money out of your own pocket. And a lot of time it's the speed and the delivery that sells the job. Someone says, I want firewood, and then you say, okay, you're first on my list. And when you find something like this, you call them up and say, $200, it's yours, bring it on over. And then you make $200. And if you're in it 2.5 hours worth of work, 3 hours worth of work, it's not a bad deal. Quick money. But anyway, this is the setup. This is what I like to do. This is how it works really good for me. Obviously a dump trailer or dump bed would be better, but you got to make do with what you have. But anyway, that's kind of how I wanted to show you guys how I finished up the job. And we got everything. So we pulled off a full cord of wood and cleaned up after ourselves. And I'm going to stack this stuff up in the woodshed where I just stacked the other load on Thursday night. And that's going to wrap up this firewood job. And then this stuff here has come off. I bucked this up into rounds out here on the property. This has been drying for, I want to say this is its second summer. So I am going to split this stuff. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that today, but I do need to get this done and split and dried. So I estimated this is a little over a cord, so I think at this point I'm good for wood for this next winter. I've got plenty of wood for next winter, and then I think I'm good for the following winter. So I think I'm pretty much caught up at this point, guys, but that does not mean the splitting is going to end. So stay tuned. Hope you like this video. I hope you learned something. If you want to go out and split on site and collect firewood and kind of get your feet wet with it, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to learn. Bring a rake with you if you're going to split on site. A little one of these metal tine rakes. They do help clean up nice after you. Other than that, guys, that was it. There's a ride along on one of the splitting jobs that I've gone to. I've done that several times. I will bring you on some more jobs as they come available. But anyway, guys, hope you liked the video. And as always, please comment, like, and subscribe if you like this kind of content. We will be heading back over to the potholes pretty soon, so hopefully we'll get some videos coming out about that. All right, guys, take it easy. Have a good one.